So remember, in the cold open, we have the A and the B story. The A storyline here, can Elliot bring the big villains to justice? What's he doing here in the cold opening? If you guys are following along, please do. Please be watching this while I give you this lecture. It's going to be so much better for you if you can. I wish I could show it to you. Remember, I told you, a hero in a television pilot is often misusing his superpower at the beginning of the show. And Elliot is misusing his superpower at the beginning of the show. How? Well, he's working for a corporation that actually helps the villain. That's a misuse. What's his superpower? He's an amazing computer hacker, right? But she's misusing it at the beginning. And in this A storyline in the cold open, he's also, though, and the reason we love him so much, is he's bringing one villain to justice. Not the big villain, but a small villain, a pedophile in a coffee shop. And as he does this, he brings all of his technical knowledge to bear, and he's busted this pedophile who has a ring of coffee shops, but he's got this pedophile porn ring, and he busts him, but as he does so, he says his core wound. He tells the pedophile, you know what? I sympathize with you. I'm different too. Here's his core wound. I don't know how to talk to people, Elliot says. My dad was the only one I could talk to, and he's dead. What does that give us about Elliot? It gives us his core wound. It makes us empathize with this weird guy. Because we're all weird, right? We want to know our heroes are weird in story because it means they're real. And his dad died. Why? It's very important. A corporation killed him. Poisoned him. His dad worked with pollution. And then Elliot says, the corporation's fine. My dad is dead. This is the bleeding wound that's going to tie right in with our A storyline. Fighting a corporation that has so much power that they can hurt people and continue to be inviolate. This is a beautiful way that Esmail brings this story together. Now the pedophile tries to pay him off, but he won't. Elliot says, I don't care about money. Again, another surprise. And then they bust him. And that's the end of the cold open. Now, guys, we're not going to have time today to talk about the 4-act structure in television, but it's important that you know what it is. It's 7 different beats per act. The A storyline has 15 to 16 of these beats. The B has 7 to 8. The C has 3 to 4. And the D has 2. Why do I talk about this if I'm not really going to talk about it? Because you need to look at my television lecture or somebody else's television lecture to make you understand that every act, every hour-long drama has this same structure. No matter how crazy you are and how much you want to break the rules, the reason it's there is to entertain the audience in a rhythm, like a pop song has a bridge, a chorus, a verse, even the craziest ones, right? They all do, because it entertains the audience. So we're not going to talk about that all now, but you need to understand that's true. And each beat has a hero, an antagonist, and a fight inside the beat. A beat is 2 to 3 minutes long. It is a single dramatic act, and there's 28 of them in an hour-long television show. And in Mr. Robot, there is 2 beats in the cold open. One of the beats is this big fight between Elliot and this pedophile, and it's resolved at the end of the beat. It's as if you ate 24 or 28 little canapes as opposed to one giant entree. It entertains you. Now remember, these patterns are all to keep the audience entertained. So we've opened on the A and the B. And by the way, if you're looking at this and viewing it, you'll see Mr. Robot, Christian Slater, right there on the subway at the beginning. He's the mentor. He's a shapeshifter, which means we're going to talk about that in a minute. Mentors heal heroes' core wounds. That's what they're for. And that's what he's going to start doing. Now, in television, they don't heal completely, but they heal a little bit. And remember, we have 3 plots in a mystery thriller. I know I'm talking a lot about this. I know it's confusing. You can watch this several times. The plot in a mystery thriller that's really critical is that there's an emotional change in the hero throughout the story that helps him solve the crime. That's the key in all great mystery thrillers, whether it's movies or television. So, Elliot is in the beginning of Act 1, and we start with our A storyline usually in Act 1. Elliot is on that subway, and the A story question is, can he beat the villains? And we also see Mr. Robot, who says, "It's an exciting time to be in the world today, huh?" It's Christian Slater. We kind of see him out of the corner of our eye. Well, who's that guy? And that's all we see of him now. Because remember, in a mystery thriller, things are hidden at first. They only pop up a little bit. Now Elliot tells us, "I'm only a vigilante hawker by night. And during the day, I work for a company that is actually evil." Interesting, huh? And we see him go to his office, and we see now the B storyline come in because his friend Angela, who he's not sleeping with, but has been friends since he's a childhood, is arguing with their boss. Now this is really important because Angela is a girl in a man's world. She's a woman in a man's world, and she's being condescended to. The boss is sexist towards her, and we're going to see that that's critical in this story, and it's part of what makes this story so appealing to 20-somethings, because so many women in the workplace are experiencing just this right now. And it's also going to make us like Elliot, because he's going to help her, but she's going to teach him how, because he screws it up at the beginning. When we first see her, she's telling her boss that she can handle the problem, and the boss is saying, "No, you can't." So what is our B story here? Remember, it's, can Elliot bond with Angela? If he can, he'll have an emotional change that'll help him solve the crime. By the way, this is a buddy relationship between Angela and Elliot, and if you look at my lectures on Universe Story, you'll see whether it's a buddy or a love story, usually one of the two partners in this relationship is teaching the other one how to be confident, and the other one is teaching the other one how to be caring. These are lacks they have that form the chemical reaction that we're going to want to watch, whether it's The Notebook or Titanic or a cop buddy movie. This is usually the dynamic. And in this story, it is as well. Because Elliot lacks, what do you think? Caring. He's got a little Asperger's. And Angela lacks confidence. So when we first see them, we're seeing her try to justify to the boss that she can handle the situation, and the boss shrugging it off and saying, "You can't handle it." Now, suddenly we get what's coming up to be the inciting incident. The boss says to Elliot, "We were hacked again. The company we work for, E-Corp, the big company, the evil villain, the real villains in our real crime plot, they were hacked last night. Someone broke in. Elliot's boss is freaked out. It's their biggest client, E-Corporation. And Elliot is the guy who's going to help rescue that. Remember, he's misusing his superpower. He doesn't want to do it. He's working for a company that is actually helping a villain. So Angela is supposed to be in charge in this situation, but she's not, because she's a woman. She's shoved aside. She lacks confidence, and she lets them do it to her. What's her core wound? Because that's important too. Her core wound is she's not powerful. She's letting men tell her she's not powerful. She's going to have a change in this story too. Guys, this is a brilliant story. Esmail is a brilliant creator. So much is going on here. When you watch this story, you will see Angela lacks the confidence she can do this job. She wants Elliot now. The next thing we see is her say to him, she takes him aside, "Hey, Elliot, why didn't you come to my party last night?" Guys, what storyline is that? That's the B storyline. Can Elliot bond with Angela emotionally? Now, Angela is reflecting to him, as a good buddy, what he needs to learn. Elliot, you must bond emotionally with people. And notice what Elliot says to her. "Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't make it." And she says, "You promised me you would try." She's trying to help him do what? Learn to care. This is a classic relationship dynamic. Now, we go to the D plot, which often happens in the first act. And if you want a breakdown of all these act structures, go to my television lecture on Universe Story. I have all of this broken down, and it's critical that you understand this. And I don't understand why most people don't do this in their books, but it's why I do it. There's another plot here, the D plot. Will Elliot save his shrink from her evil con artist boyfriend? Now, we see that she's a psychologist, but here's what's interesting about Elliot and any character. When you first see a character, you have his wound. Now, what if you're wounded as a person? What have you done? First of all, ask yourself, what's your biggest wound? Okay, emotionally, what's your biggest embarrassment? Now, what have you done to compensate for that in your life? Okay?